How could I turn to somebody so holy when I'm doing everything wrong? How could he want me? How could he love me after where I've been and what I've done and what I'm doing? I was an athlete in school. Basketball was my first love, and I was going to play college ball. And then I got an infection. All prospects were stolen. And so that was my first, I'll say, identity loss. Went to college for a few years before I joined the Navy. I was a really good kid in high school, kind of like the role model student, if you will, and I wanted to see what the other side was like, so I got really good at drinking and did nothing productive for 2 years. Enlisted in the Navy to want to be a part of something bigger than myself. Looking back now, I can say that what I really was striving to be a part of was a part of God's kingdom, but I didn't know what that was then. I get to my first duty station at the academy in Maryland, and I go through a sexual assault by a friend. I was beyond broken and devastated and vulnerable. So that led to me getting into a pretty bad relationship with somebody twice my age, and I essentially became his play toy. Then blackmail was involved. Found out later he was married, so I only saw one way out. 78 pills and a bottle of vodka later, a few days in the ICU, and my mandatory psych ward time. I get out, and that guy is at my apartment waiting. So I was trapped again, and then somebody else enters into my life, sees the scenario that I'm in, and wants to help. And turns out he just puts me back into a similar situation that I can't get out of again. I literally wrote in a journal at that time, like, I need the Bible, I need God, but I can't turn to him. So not long after that, I couldn't tolerate my knee pain anymore from my high school injury. So I ended up having an 8.5-hour surgery for them to try to fix it. And it didn't go well. That was my 8th surgery. And then they wanted to keep fixing it, and I said I was done. And I asked them to just med board me out. So I got med boarded and honorably discharged. But I wanted to give back in a way to like the physical therapy world. And I wanted to be able to help people the way that I was helped. So I got out of the Navy and I went to PTA school to become a physical therapy assistant. So I went through school, graduated, passed my board, began to practice. And in the process of that, I connected with somebody who I knew in the Navy. Somebody who later became my husband, but we started in an affair. See, when I got out of the Navy in 2012, his son was killed in action in Afghanistan. And the extent of our brokenness, we bonded. So we started dating while I was in West Virginia, working in a PT clinic. The staff was all Christians. And just through working with this crew, I was ministered to. And clear as day, I hear, you need to get baptized in a creek now. So that weekend, after we all got off work, we went out to a creek behind a church that they knew. And Mike started praying and started asking me questions. And I accepted Jesus as my Savior then, still not fully understanding. Now, life still got pretty messy after that. I got married after that, divorced after that. But I accepted Jesus in the mess. I prayed to be a vessel. I prayed to be a vessel for the Lord. But God wanted me back here. So I prayed about it and I went. And when I got to here, to Sioux Falls, July of 2020, I started Googling churches. And when I started here, I found my community for the first time. I didn't once feel judged walking in the doors where I had many times at other churches. I literally said, here I am. And it was terrifying. See, when God's got something big for you to do for his kingdom, the enemy doesn't want you to do it. And he'll do everything. He'll do everything in his power to make sure that you don't. But the beauty in that is we've already won. God has already won. So there's no mess that is too big. There's nobody that is too lost. He's just waiting for you to turn around and say, here I am. God will set you free.